Hey, it's Doug Cunnington here, and welcome to this interview. I am sitting with Josh Shogren, who's going to be one of our success stories. Josh, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Excellent. Obviously, if anyone's watching this, they're into Amazon niche sites, and essentially, we're just going to kind of go behind the curtain here, and I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions and see if we could, figure out your genius. So, sound good?
Yeah, sounds awesome. Can't wait.
All right, so you have been featured on Niche Site Project before, but I'm curious about where you're from, sort of your background, and what you do for a job or professionally right now.
All right, yeah, awesome. So right now I'm a sophomore at Western Washington University. It's a school over in Washington State. Um, so that's what I'm doing right now. I got started with niche sites probably when I was 12 or 13. Just trying to make anything I could from websites. I just found it really cool putting all the sites together and like having something that you could go to online. I found it really interesting. That's kind of what got me started in niche sites. In terms of entrepreneurial ways, I got started when I started fixing Xboxes. My Xbox broke when I was younger. Figured out how to fix it, and I also figured out there were tons of other people that had the same problem with me with their Xboxes breaking. So I went on Craigslist, eBay, just found all the broken ones I could find, fixed them up, and sold it. And that's kind of what got me started with learning kind of buying and selling stuff, learning how to solve problems. That's what got me started with that. But then, like I said, started with creating websites. And it led up to the past couple of years, I started really having success with niche websites, making money, good money, buying and selling them. And that's basically where I'm at right now, is just working on all the niche sites that I have, buying and selling websites, and a little bit of Amazon FBA as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that is super impressive. It's ridiculous how much you've accomplished, and I know I have a few years on you at least, but I was going to say I know a few years back before I even heard of niche sites. If you told
Hmm.
me that story, I would think you were telling me, some crazy lies. But yeah, congratulations, you've
Thank you. Thank you.
accomplished a whole lot here. So, just curious, what's your degree or studies right now?
I originally was going to do finance because I'm interested in like stocks and stuff like that, but I recently switched my major to marketing just because it aligns a little bit better with what I'm doing online and stuff like that. I feel like learning the hardcore basics of marketing is beneficial to online and it translates well, so that's what I've been focusing on these last couple of quarters. Actually, I just declared my major 2 quarters ago, so I'm right in the beginning of it right now.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool. I see how that would line up pretty well
Hmm.
um, versus what you were doing before. And if you know
Yeah,
what you're into, that's cool.
exactly, exactly.
So, do you happen to remember when you first, heard the term niche site or how you came across it, any of the people you followed early on?
Um, yeah, when I first started making websites, I never heard of niche sites. I just started making websites, but to be honest, I think you were probably one of the first people I came across, as well as Spencer from Niche Pursuits was probably the first people that I saw really make like doing niche sites. It was along with the guys at Empire Flippers. I think it was like AdSense Flippers then, or
Yep.
something like that. They had a different name. So you guys were probably the main three that I found early on and kind of what guided my learning. But from there, obviously, branched off to other people and kept on learning and finding other people doing the same type of stuff. But that's pretty much where I got originated with like the niche site type of stuff.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. So, um, I guess you have shared some of this like specific success stories and some dollar numbers,
Hmm.
but if you're comfortable, you don't have to share exactly, but if you could tell us a little of your, monthly cash flow or, sort of your portfolio, what you're working with right now.
Yeah, so I had a lot of, like a year or two ago, I had a lot of websites that I built up from scratch in my portfolio of websites. Um, I've tried to trim those down in the past few months and past years just to focus on the websites that are worth more, like making more money, worth like it's better return on investment in terms of like time and money spent
Sure.
on them. So I've kind of trimmed out the sites that I started originally, and now I'm kind of focused on buying websites that I see as opportunity that I have opportunity to grow them when I buy them. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on now is buying websites, adding those websites to my portfolio instead of starting from scratch. But right now I probably have around, I just bought a website like 2 weeks ago, so I probably have 5 to 6 websites in my portfolio currently, and all combined they probably make 4 to 5 grand revenue each month. Obviously there's expenses, content, all that type of stuff that goes into it, but probably top line revenue is $4 to $5,000 with all of those combined.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then do you have, just curious, do you have any, I guess, ballpark estimate of your ongoing monthly cost to run your expenses?
Um, it varies each month, but I'd probably say, and it also depends on if one month I'm really, all right, I need let's get a bunch of content written for this specific site, or if I just buy a new website and I want to overhaul it with a bunch of new content, it obviously boosts the expenses a little bit, but probably anywhere between $500 to $800 a month in expenses in terms of everything that I spend on those websites.
Sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty lean when you think about, the percentage and the margins you're you're running
Yep.
there. So
Yep.
that's pretty awesome. And you mentioned content, so I guess, if you could rewind just a bit, thinking of the sites that, you were starting from scratch. A lot of people that are watching this will be starting from scratch.
Hmm.
Um, your content plan, do you have sort of an approach or a long-term vision for your sites, and how long is the content, your keyword research? If you could just dive in however you want to approach that.
Yeah. Okay. So if I'm starting a site from scratch, this is a mistake I made plenty of times when I was getting started. Is that I would try to focus on something way too specific of a niche. For example, if I was on something on lawnmowers, I'd focus on one little type of lawnmower because I found the keyword in the Google keyword planner. I thought I'd go after it, so I'd make a whole site around like two or three different types of lawnmowers. But now, if I was doing the same type of thing, I would create a whole website on the entire lawnmower niche, covering different types of lawnmowers, lawnmower bags, or whatever the accessories are, making the whole website the authority in lawnmowers instead of, because you can still target that same keyword that you found originally, but just have that as one page on your site, and then that opens you up to being able to target a much more wide variety of keywords down the road, and it doesn't limit you in terms of the potential that that site can get to. Because if you target one or two keywords as on an entire site, you have a really small ceiling in terms of what site could get to later on when it reaches its full potential. So what I would suggest if you're starting out is make sure you don't limit yourself right off the bat by making your whole site too narrow focus. So
Yes.
that's kind of like the foundation basic before you even start a website. But once you find a website, or not find a website, but find a niche that you want to get into in a market and found some good keywords. I mean, basically, I just try to start producing as much high quality content as possible. Because the sooner you get content on the site, the sooner it's going to be ranking in Google, and sooner it'll start bringing traffic and money. Ideally, I like my content to be upwards of 1,500 words per article.
Hmm.
Obviously, the more the better. In terms of writing it, I try not to write my own content just because when I first started, I wrote all my content. It was probably the worst part about making the niche sites just
Yeah.
because I had to learn, do research, and all that took so long, especially to write the content after doing my research on it. I found it easier to go out and find somebody that's already knowledgeable within the market that my new website is in, and pay them to write with something that they're knowledgeable about and they have experience with and that they enjoy writing about. So they won't have that leads to better high quality content when they are enjoy the content they're talking about.
Sure.
And oftentimes when you do that, you have to pay a little bit more just because it's not just a guy that just writes content about whatever. It's a
Right.
little more narrow focus and specific, which costs a little bit more, but I think that the higher quality content will pay off down the road.
Gotcha.
Um, so that's kind of my content strategy in terms of the articles and stuff like that. Um, let's see. I mean, I really don't do too much link building because I feel like my keyword research, if you do good enough keyword research and write good enough quality content and enough of it, you can target those long tail keywords that will you don't need any links to build. And I used to use private blog network links back when I past 2 years, but I just like that's not sustainable in 4 to 5 years because I mean Google's always making changes, always going after people. I just feel like it's safer. If I want to put all this upfront work into something, I don't want 2 years from now all of a sudden to be gone. I want to make sure that the work I'm putting in now will not, like will be worth something down the road instead of somehow all of a sudden just being
Right.
gone. So, um, so what were you gonna say? I'm just about done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, going back to your keyword research a little
Mm-hmm.
bit.
Yeah.
So, do you have certain, benchmarks or metrics that you're looking for your keywords as far as the volume and then the number of keywords and say like the keyword competitiveness or some other way to tell how hard
Hmm.
it is to rank. So there's three questions in one. So
Yeah.
if you forget, I'll let you
Yeah.
let you know.
No, I think I got it. So yeah, that's a great question. I want to touch on that. But so in terms of the amount of keywords, like I said, if I found one good keyword that I liked or a group of good keywords, and I instead of just creating a whole site around those little group of keywords, I will try to find related keywords to that group. For example, if I did like writing lawnmower reviews or something, I would want to find other keywords that were still related to the same niche, but would also be easy to rank for me. I don't know off the top of my head. That's just an example, but
Sure.
you want to find groups or clusters of keywords that you can target that are all fairly easy to rank for. And lots of times when you find one keyword that's kind of easy to rank for, there's 4 to 5 to 10 other keywords that are related to it that you target on the same article that are also just as easy to rank for, if not easier. They might not have as much search volume, but when you target all of them on one page, it all adds up.
Yep.
So I mean, that's kind of the basics of looking at finding the keywords, I guess, is just try to find clusters that are related to each other. And if you can find 5 to 10 of those clusters of keywords, that would be your starting point for your large authority site that you are creating, is those clusters of keywords that you are going to target with each new piece of content.
Yep.
But in terms of monthly searches and competitiveness, I'm really not too worried about monthly searches as long as it gets um, maybe the first one, the main keywords I'm trying to go after is maybe like 500 searches a month. But then if there's 10 other keywords that get 90 monthly searches, I mean, that's 900 monthly searches, all those combined. So I like to target those keywords that get 90, 70 monthly searches, 120. I mean, no one's really going after those, and it makes it a lot easier for you to come in and get that traffic. And it's a lot easier to rank for a keyword getting 90 monthly searches, well, usually 90 monthly searches than something that's getting 2,000 monthly searches. So
Right.
that's kind of my, in terms of monthly searches, I just like to, and like I said, the cluster keywords, those things are what I look for. It's like all those combined, I probably like to see 2,000 monthly searches,
Sure.
1,500 to 2,000. Um, in terms of keyword competitiveness, uh, I mean, I used to use Longtail Pro. I haven't been using it as of late just because it was kind of buggy for a while, but I haven't used it in the past year, so I'm not sure how it's going now. But I moved to Keyword Finder just because it's in the cloud, it's on in my browser, it's
Sure.
easy to access. And in terms of their metrics, I like to find stuff that's under 30 keyword competitiveness. So I think
Okay.
that's, I don't know how that translates to Longtail Pro or anything else, but those are still pretty easy to rank for when it's under 30. I think it might be somewhat similar to Longtail Pro's
Hmm.
keyword competitiveness. So yeah, I like to, and like I said, I can target stuff that's super easy to rank for. I don't
Gotcha.
like to go after the little bit harder competitive keywords, and because you need to go out and find links, do all that kind of stuff. I like to target content. I mean keywords, and then just use content to rank for those.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's good to hear. I have a
Mm-hmm.
similar approach, and in the course, the five-figure niche site course, um, basically the range that you described is like the range that I advise people to go for, right?
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
it's somewhere between, roughly 500 to 720 up to about
Mm-hmm.
2500 is like sort of like the big pillar content, and you can
Yep.
have a five-figure niche site if you rank for like one or two terms in that range. And
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, like you said, guess what, if you have you know 20 keywords that get 40 searches a month, I mean, well, that adds
Yep.
up. That's all you need in the aggregate. Like that's what you need, and you can, you know, like you said, bunch up those clusters, things that are common. You maybe have one article about certain things. Maybe others need their own, but
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of a an aggregate play on the numbers, and it's a numbers game. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
cool. Yeah, it's good. It's good to hear we have the same approach. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
there's a few other people going after the lower competition stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's fewer people because it's a longer
Exactly.
play, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So that said, since you're not building links very much, we will come back to link building a little
Mm-hmm.
bit,
Okay.
but about how long does it take for you to, in these brand new sites, to get a little traffic and say start making $100 per month or so?
Um, so I guess my answer is going to be based off of not anything recent, just because I haven't started a new site in a while.
Sure.
I either buy them already established, but when I first started, like a year or two ago, when I started a new site, it took probably 6 months to get it to 100 a dollar per month mark. But that's also, I wasn't mainly focused on that side. I kind of produced a couple pieces of content, let it sit for 3 or 4 months, and I came back. I'm like, oh, it's starting to make some money. Added some, I mean, it started getting some traffic. I added some affiliate links and kind of took it from there. So I mean, I'm sure if I was mainly focused on it the entire time, adding content consistently, it would probably have been 3 to 4 months to get to that point. But like I said, I let it sit there for a while on Google, and then I came back to it later and added to it.
Okay. And then, yeah, good point. I haven't started a new site in a little while either for
Yeah.
similar reasons.
Hmm.
Um, so, I guess, can you tell me a little of, I guess, like the revenue curve of, you know, it's flat. Maybe you made $20, then it went up to 100. What happened after that, roughly?
Yeah. So and I added. See, that's another thing. I added the affiliate links, and I kind of let it sit again for a couple months, and I almost just forgot about it. And then I checked my affiliate earnings, and it was earning maybe 100 $150 a month. It wasn't too concerning to me, and I came back and it was earning like 300 to $400 a month. So I'm like, wow, it's starting to pick up, and that's why I added more content. Really started to optimize things
Sure.
and tweak things, and because I said, all right, this has the potential to be something that's making thousands of dollars per month. So I added a lot more content, and over probably a 6 to 9 month period, it went from the $150 a month mark all the way up to $2,200 per month within that time period. And then after that, I actually ended up selling the site, and that's the same site that I talked about on the niche site success story that I sold for $35,000.
Yep.
That's the same exact site. So once it got up to that point, it was slowly creeping up. I mean, it was like $700, then it was 900, then it was 1,500, and then it had a really big spike in January, I think,
Sure.
of this past year, and it went up to $2,200. And at that point, I was just like, I'm just going to cash this site out just because I've done everything I can to it.
Yeah.
I don't see it going much higher than $2,200. I just kind of wanted to cash out while I was still making good money and move on to the next project that I want to work on.
Right on. That's cool. Yeah, I've heard that. I thought you would answer something like that, and yeah, that's kind of what I've seen too. It's like stable, the earnings are stable,
Yep.
traffic stable, and then you go from like number 5 to number 2, and then weird
Hmm.
stuff starts happening. It's not a linear situation. You just
No.
end up with much higher, and it's hard to know the cap because the long tails
Hmm.
start coming in that didn't before.
Yeah.
Really strange. Okay,
Exactly.
cool. Now, I don't know as many people who are actually like buying established sites.
Hmm.
So it'd be foolish of me not to ask you questions about that.
Yeah.
So tell me, I mean, I imagine you got into it because you had an influx of cash and you wanted to
Hmm.
skip that boring part of writing the initial content.
Hmm.
So can you sort of take me through like buying a site, just high level?
Yeah. So I mean, I try to find sites that lend themselves well to my skill set that I have. So I mean, I'm good at SEO, keyword research, and I've recently kind of got into optimizing AdSense websites. So those are kind of the skills that I perfected over the past year, 2 years, with SEO and keyword research, past like 8 years probably, just from when I first started. But I find sites that are lacking in those areas. Um, for example, if a site has a ton of organic research, but you can tell they're not optimized, their URL structure is terrible, their title is not very good. Maybe their content's only 500 words, but they're still ranking well just because it's a high quality domain name with a lot of authority backlinks. That type of stuff is like almost like a gold mine to me because I know that with the skills that I have, there's a ton of keywords that I can target on this site and rank well just because it's such an authoritative domain. Um, and basically just try to find sites that I know that with my skills, I can apply my skills and leverage the skills to quickly make changes and improve the overall value of the site. So if I know the site is making $500 per month, and I see some quick and easy changes that I know will work on a site and could get that site to maybe $750 per month or $1,000 a month, I'll buy that site, hold it for six months or so, get it to that range, and then just flip it. I mean, if I see more potential in it, I'll obviously hold it and continue to do work in it. But a lot of times it's just as easy as making a few changes that I know work and worked for me in the past, and just make those changes and flip the earnings. I mean, it really does make a huge difference when a site has no idea about SEO or optimizing for Google or anything like that. When you come through and do optimize it for Google, you can, especially larger sites, you can see a large change in the traffic and earnings from it. So I mean, it's really just as simple as using your skills that you've mastered along the way of building niche sites, learning it like the hard way, and just applying it to a site that's already established, and just the small changes make a huge difference on an established website.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how many sites have you purchased, improved, and then resold?
I'm probably at three, but I'm very close to doing like about three or four more right now. I bought a couple in the last 9 or so months that I have been working on since then, and have been improved. So I'll just give you an example. A site I bought in last year in August. I bought it. It was making $500 per month, and I bought it for $6,000, which is actually a really really good price for a site that's making that much money.
Hmm.
But so I've had it since, like I said, in this last August. I've had it so less than a year, and right now it's earning around $1,000 per month, and that's just from optimizing the AdSense, adding more content, and just continuing to do what they had done on their site, but just tweak a few things, and it's gone up to around $1,000 per month on average. So right now, I could sell it. It's probably worth anywhere between 20 to 30 grand right now, based on how much money it's earning.
Wow. And how
Yeah.
much traffic is coming in on that site?
Quite a bit actually. It's getting around 50,000 visitors per month. And a lot of it actually is surprisingly is from Pinterest, and a lot of people don't know much about Pinterest or how to get traffic from Pinterest, but it's actually one of the more higher quality traffic sources out of all like Facebook, Twitter, and all the other social medias, because it's not a social media site where you post one thing, it might go viral, get some visits, and it won't give you any more visits for the rest of its entirety.
Yeah.
Is because people use Pinterest as like a search engine. So
Yeah.
if you can optimize your pins to target those longer tail keywords, you will consistently drive traffic through those pins that you have, because people, it's like I said, it's a search engine. If people continually search for those things, your pins that you pinned 9 months ago pop up, and they're still driving traffic today. So it's really, really cool way to drive traffic actually, if your niche lends itself well to Pinterest, because a lot of times it doesn't. But if you can find a way to match Pinterest and your market up, it works really well.
Gotcha. Now, for that site, are you doing any list building also?
I have started some, but it's not looking like it's going to be anything really worth my time at this point.
Right.
Um, just because most of the people come from Pinterest, that's a major traffic source, and I really have no reason to email them about future stuff, just because it's mainly a content site
Hmm.
that's not. I don't know, it just doesn't lend itself well to email building. But one thing I have been testing out is selling physical products through like Shopify
Hmm.
and things like that. And I've been messing around with that, and I've been seeing a little bit of success. I think there's still a lot more testing and experimenting to do with that, but I think that it's interesting to kind of see the potential of adding like physical products to your own Shopify store to multiple different types of niches. It doesn't have to be just this exact site that I'm
Sure.
working on. Is that like just adding that physical product aspect to a business is really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Let's see. I want to backtrack a little bit, just a
Hmm.
tad.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people in internet marketing have some sort of story about how they were penalized and had, they were making $500 a day, and then next thing you know, zero. So, have you had any penalties in the past or any issues like that?
Um, I mean, way back when, probably my first real site that I had, it was on Osgood Slaughters, which is kind of like a thing on your knees that you get when you're growing up. It's when you go through like puberty. It's really painful, but it's only for a couple years. But I had it really bad, and it sucked because I always played basketball, so it was kind of like I could still play, but it was just really like painful to play through. So I created a website about that. And thinking back on it, it's actually a really good niche to get into at that time, and it was just kind of lucky that I even got into it. But I wrote the content, all that kind of stuff. It was doing really well. It earned maybe like $50 a month from AdSense, but I thought that was amazing when I was 15 years old, because I
Yeah.
mean, I'm making money online. Like it's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
But so, and I just did some stupid stuff with backlinks, and I don't even remember exactly what I did to get penalized. But I remember like I woke up and the traffic was just zero. I'm like, what's going on? And a couple days after that, traffic zero, and it was just heartbreaking. So I'm like, what happened? I put so much time and effort into it. But yeah, that was my real first experience with getting a site penalized. Aside from that, I had a site 2 years ago that I was making probably $500, $800 a month, and it was using PBN links, and the site never got penalized. But when there's a Google update, it like cut the traffic in half. I never got any penalized notifications or anything like that. It was just really weird how I lost a lot of rankings. and
Right.
I didn't lose them from like ranking number 3 into like oblivion. It went to like 22. It was
Wow.
like, or ranking 22, and it happened for a lot of keyword rankings. So it wasn't penalized. It just wasn't able to stay on the first page for a lot of rankings, and it hurt the rankings. It went down to maybe $100 per month after that. So
Sure.
that kind of sucked. But I mean, it's weird. It wasn't penalized, but there's something going on with
Yeah.
it.
I think probably what happened is the network that you were using was de-indexed, so like
Hmm.
the powerful links like went away.
Yeah.
And then yeah. Okay. Yeah, so and I think that's important for people to realize. I've had my own horror story. Other people that we're talking to in this series
Hmm.
also have
Yeah.
been penalized before. And it's another key thing to like remember is, when was your first website? Like how many years ago?
Geez, I'm 20 now, so I mean, it was probably 6 years ago.
All right. So you're like a 6-year veteran having websites. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you put in your time. It's not like you showed up and then all of a
Hmm.
sudden you're selling sites for
Yeah. Exactly.
$35,000. So you put in your time for sure.
Yep. Absolutely.
Now, let's see here. I'm going through some other questions. Now, I guess it's sort of tough, but if you could turn back the clock and sort of look and remember some of the roadblocks or fake roadblocks that you thought you had, back 5 years ago or so. I mean, any mindset things that you can recall that you thought were a big issue that really weren't a big issue at all?
It's a good question. Maybe it's just as simple as the fact that I didn't really think making money online was like possible. Even like I said, when I was making $50 per month, I was so excited. I
Yeah.
had no idea how long it was gonna last or whatever. I was just thinking it was so cool that I was making any money. I remember, like this is back in my very first website. I remember I earned like 1 penny or something in my AdSense account, and it probably wasn't even from a click. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like 1 penny, and I was so pumped about it. I was like telling my mom, my dad, my brother. I was so excited about it. But like, so basically, I guess the mindset is just that you can make real money doing this. Is like once I fully understood that, and that kind of made me go like, all right, let's actually take this serious and see what kind of results I can get from it. So once that kind of mindset switched in me, knowing that like, all right, this is real, and that I think that is kind of what has led me to the success that I've had these past few years. Is when I got serious about it and really started making money from it.
Gotcha. Okay. That's super similar to me. And in fact, I still have, moments where I'm like, is this site gonna work?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
does this stuff still work? So, and it does. It
yeah.
almost always does. I mean, now, like, people like you and I, and probably the people watching the video, like, you sort of
Mm-hmm.
know the ropes and you can see the markers that sort of let you know that it's working, even though you may have to wait 6, 9, 12 months before you see
Mm-hmm.
anything significant.
Yeah.
So, now I know you have flipped a few sites, you've built some sites.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's your end goal for, sites in general?
Yeah.
And I
No, good question.
and
Um, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
I know that you may have a different classification of like, hey, this site's earmarked for this and this site's earmarked for that. So feel free to talk about it however you want.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, now I'm kind of going towards a goal of owning a portfolio of websites and treating it as an investment type of thing. Maybe get outside investors. My parents, actually, I talked to them about this and they're interested in it. They actually purchased a website um, through me as an investment, and then I like pay them half the money it makes each month, and then when we sell it, they get their initial investment back, and we split the rest of it 50-50.
Mhm.
So, and that's the website that's now worth between $20,000 and $30,000 that I bought for 6 grand, or that I guess they bought for 6 grand around 9 months ago, 9 to 10 months ago.
Mhm.
So that is something I'm really interested in, is kind of treating websites as an investment, especially with outside money, bringing outside money in, and then using me as the person that goes and finds websites, manages them, has a team below me that manages them, and that's what I'm really interested in, is like getting a team that can handle the day-to-day tasks, and me kind of just provide them the direction and stuff that needs to be accomplished for each one of the sites, and treating a portfolio of websites as an investment that I can use as an investment, or outside money can be used as an investment. So that's kind of where I'm heading right now with the buying and selling of websites.
Okay. And
Yeah.
would the emphasis be sort of a monthly cash flow situation?
yeah, monthly cash flow and the fact that you're building up a sellable asset that is worth is going to be worth more money than what you bought it for 12 months from now.
Sure. Okay. And that makes me think of PBNs a little bit because I know if you're buying and selling sites, like having a PBN can be a deal breaker for some people. So
Hmm.
you mentioned it a little bit earlier, sort of your link building approach, and I believe it's evolved. So can you take us through, where it started out, say a couple years ago when you first started doing well with Amazon sites, and then where you're at right now with link building?
Yeah, so it's funny that I really started to see success with niche sites is when I started using PBN links because that gave me a true and tried way to start ranking websites. So that's kind of what got me into it was PBN sites. That's what led me to have my initial success. Obviously, they were terrible back then, and they've like you said, the whole PBN industry has evolved. They've gotten a lot better. I mean, people's PBN sites are now like ranking in Google, and that's like what they're trying to do, and then link from that website to their website. So they've definitely gotten way better. But for me, I've pretty much moved completely away from PBNs, mainly because I want to, like I said, take outside money and buy websites, and I don't think using PBNs is the safest route to go in terms of using other people's money to buy websites. So that's why I'm focusing on just writing high quality content and natural link building and stuff like that so that the website that I buy is going to be sustainable and be around for multiple years and to not risk their outside investment or my investment that I when I buy websites.
Okay. So,
Mhm.
what link building do you do? You mentioned natural link building, so can you be specific?
I mean, mainly when I say natural link building, I'm talking about writing high quality content and just let people naturally link to your website. I mean, it's not the most effective way to link build, obviously, because you have to just wait for other people to link to your website. So that's really my what I do normally, is just write high quality content or have high quality content written, and then just see how it performs in Google. But one thing I'm really interested in doing is kind of link outreach type of stuff. Maybe finding resource pages that have broken links on it and telling them about it and asking if they could have put my site there, like as like a gesture for me telling them about the broken links.
Sure.
Maybe guest posting on similar or relatively similar niche websites
Sure.
that would be relevant to my website. Maybe just reaching out to people and say, hey, I have a brand new piece of content you might be interested in, and just see what they do with it. They might share it, they might link to it in their next post. Just making it as natural as possible and building relationships with people, other website owners in the same area as the website you want links for. I just think that's more safe in terms of Google and everything like that,
Hmm.
and it's more sustainable long term.
Sure. Yeah, and that's sort of the approach that I've taken, mainly the guest posting
Mm-hmm.
area and blog commenting. That's
Yep, blog
basically
commenting. Yep.
it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and just to be clear, you write good content, long form, and then you
Mm-hmm.
don't really do anything else, right?
Not at all. Just
And then
post it and let it do its thing.
it ranks. So I suppose the secret for that is really, really good keyword research, so you
Yep.
have virtually
Mm-hmm.
no competition.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I haven't heard of very many people like making it work,
Mm-hmm.
especially, or sorry, the only people that I do hear like doing that approach of no link building at all, usually they have like a massive amount of content being published. So
Mm-hmm.
about how many articles do you have like on a site, or what's the ideal number for sites you're dealing with?
Ideally, I want for each one of my sites, I want one piece of new content each week, if not more. So I mean, I'm
Okay.
not producing a ton of content, but it's still I mean, 4 new pieces of content per month per website is pretty good. But like you said, the keyword research is crucial to making that like method work. Just because if you go after a slightly competitive keyword, it's going to take you a long time, and you may never even be able to rank on the first page without any links. So the key is, like you said, good keyword research and finding those keywords that you don't need any links to rank on the first page of Google for.
Gotcha. Now, I guess that makes me think. Well, for my sites, and a lot of times, you end
Mm-hmm.
up seeing an 80-20 situation happen. So maybe you have two, three pages that are actually making like all the money on the site. So do
Mm-hmm.
you see that on your sites as well?
Yeah, so especially on the sites that I created from scratch, because I knew with doing my keyword research, I'm like, all right, these are the keywords that I know that are going to be able to make me money if I rank for them. So that is what I put like all my effort into, um, with making sure it's high quality. At that point, building PBN links to those sites I know would make money, um, and those websites that I really focused on, those like three or four pages on the website, kind of like 80-90% of the traffic, just because that was my main focus. Because
Yep.
I knew if I ranked those pages, I mean, it'd be worth all the time and effort because they would return it back with making money.
Okay. Interesting. And so, quick digression and point from me. So I am, adding more and more content, and you and I were talking before we started
Mm-hmm.
recording. Like I'm planning on adding a lot more content, probably at least like, one article per week, maybe up to, 4 or 5 articles per week,
Mm-hmm.
for a couple months at least. So that's a
Yeah.
massive amount of content. I did a small set. I did like 20 articles back in January. And I did some link building, right? But what I found was like 15 of the articles sort of just, they get 1 or 2 hits a day, which is not
Yeah.
bad. I mean,
Yeah.
that's good, right? As long tail traffic is targeted.
Yeah.
But I found like one of those articles started bringing in like a massive amount of like traffic
Yeah.
from some long tail that I don't even know what it is, because it's only supposed to get 10 searches per month, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting like 30 people per day on
Yeah.
that page, and it's bringing in like way more money than I would have guessed or even estimated.
Mm-hmm.
So my thought is, bringing it back around, you're publishing a lot of content, you're going to end up finding, and I hope I do the same, right? You're going to end up
Mm-hmm.
finding like some 5% of the articles are going to be like home runs. You
Yeah.
have no idea which ones, so you kind of have to take a shotgun approach. You're publishing a lot, and then boom, you have one that like you can maybe add more content to, or put an infographic on that page, or like do something awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So that's cool.
absolutely. And I think that, like you said, the other stuff was getting 1 to 2 visits per day, but over a long period of time, when you're constantly producing that, I mean, those 1 or 2 visitors per day on those articles are going to add up when you have 50, 60, 100 of those articles.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so add that along with your 1 or 5% of the home run articles. I mean, it's a good strategy. I think that's you hit the nail on the head. That's pretty much what I do with my content production as well. It's like is just target those long tail keywords, and like you said, some of them, and a lot of times the keyword that you are ranking for that's bringing all the traffic isn't even in Google Keyword Planner or any like keyword
Yep.
research, which is because it's not even like they missed it or it's a newer keyword, you know. So
Yep.
yeah, that's really interesting.
That is cool. So, just doing a little quick math in my head. So you have like 5 websites. You're adding 1 article per week. So
Mhm.
that's a lot of content. Do you have a team working with you, or what's your situation?
Right now, it's all me in terms of hiring the content, our content writers, and then once they get it back to me, go onto the website, post it, format it, add the affiliate links, add the picture. So I'm pretty much a one-man team at this point, except for the content production.
Hmm.
But that's definitely something I am looking to remove myself from in the near future and just try to only focus on the most important tasks that actually need me to be there to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like adding the content to WordPress, anyone can do that. I shouldn't be really the one doing that, especially when the website's making enough money where it makes sense to hire someone else to do that.
Hmm.
So in the near future, it's definitely something I look for is to hire some people to take those responsibilities from me and just kind of scale what I'm already doing and just make it an overall smoother process.
Cool. That makes sense. Yeah, it's tough to get out of your own way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially
I
since I've been doing it since I was like 13, 14 years old. It's like that's what I'm so used to doing. I'm not used to handing it off to someone else to do it. But if I really want to take this serious and get it to the next level, I need to remove myself from it because I'm pretty much the bottleneck to everything I'm doing at this point, you know? So once I get rid of some of the tasks that I'm doing day to day, I think that it'll definitely pay off long term.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that's the key, man. We're you and me both, brother. That's the same
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
okay. So I know we're sort of coming up towards the end of time here,
Mhm.
and I'm curious what your goals are, say, for the next 1 to 2 years. I know if you want to put a further time frame, that's cool. But where do you see yourself going here?
I already touched on this a little bit, but I really think that investing in websites or maybe just online businesses in general, like software as a service type of stuff,
Hmm.
Amazon FBA businesses, those that online businesses are extremely undervalued right now in terms of the prices that they get and the type of returns that they get. And I really think that that is going to be something that a lot of money flows into in the near future in terms of investing. And I think that I want to position myself as someone that will try to take advantage of that by building up right now, like building up a website portfolio that is almost like an investment in itself. And I buy and sell, keep moving. I mean, right now I'm like moving up the ladder in terms of the quality of, not the quality of websites, but the price of that I'm paying for websites and moving up the higher and higher range sites. So right now I'm just kind of moving myself up the ladder to get to that higher price point of websites where it's really serious money and that people will like take this investment thing seriously. And I think that in the next few years, I really want to take that to the next level.
Gotcha. That's cool. And you mentioned a little bit of like Amazon FBA and like physical products. Do you have any other like projects that you're working on that are not Amazon affiliate sites?
Yeah, so I have my own Amazon FBA company that's selling products on Amazon, and that's something I've been working on this past probably year, 9 to 10 months, and it started off really good, have a lot of success, but obviously there's so much competition, people starting their own Amazon business that a ton of copycats came in and pretty much used my exact product, just changed the logo on it. So I had a lot more competition, had to lower my prices, and it's just not the same as it was. I was probably selling 30 units a day. Now I'm selling maybe 5 units a day of the same exact product. So
Gotcha.
it's either I'm going to sell out of the current inventory that I have in Amazon and just kind of move on to the next project, just kind of let that be, or I might try to expand it and start getting more products and just kind of see what like an influx of a couple new products would do. I'm still kind of on the edge of what I want to do moving forward, but that is where I'm at in terms of my own Amazon FBA business.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are capital intensive, I
Yep.
bet. So
Hmm.
that's a whole other set of skills to deal with the
Yeah.
supply chain and all that. So interesting, interesting. Okay, well, I guess we'll start wrapping up here. Is there any, I guess, like advice that you would give someone who's just like starting out with a new site?
Um, yeah. I guess the key to everything is picking the right niche and then finding the right keywords because I mean, if you choose just that little bit too competitive niche, it's like you're never going to be able to even scratch the surface in terms of getting any traffic going, building any momentum. It's almost better to start at too low of a niche of a market in terms of competition. There may not be as much searches, but to at least get that initial success
Hmm.
and see like, all right, learn the ropes of how everything works,
Yeah,
and then from there you can like translate those skills you've learned up into a little bit higher competition and higher potential websites that you start.
sure.
Yeah, and I mean, going back to like doing keyword research and stuff and finding those really low competition keywords. One thing that I really like to do, in terms of like an actual tactic that people can use, is that you find, say you are in the dog niche, maybe you select like dog collars or something an affiliate for, is you go out there and find forums that are related to dogs, like just straight up dog forums or people, like the old school forums where there's like people talking forums, you know what I'm talking about? So you find those and then you plug those forums into SEMrush
Uh-huh.
and then you see what keywords they're ranking for. And whatever keywords those forums are ranking for, you better believe that you can outrank them because that's just a random forum with random content on it. So
Right.
if those forums are ranking for it, you better believe if you write 2,000 words like targeting that keyword, you're going to be able to rank for it. So I mean, that's a really good tactic that can get you started in terms of finding the really easy keywords that you don't need to link build for.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really easy to you plug it in to SEMrush, export all the results, and there you go. I mean, and I like to filter it from like the highest ranking
Sure.
stuff. So I mean, if a forum is ranking number one for a keyword, like you can beat that out just because it's ranking number one in Google for that keyword. I mean, even if it's the smallest type of keyword, 90 monthly searches, it's still worth going after.
And just to be clear, so you're looking at the overall forum domain, right? So,
Yes. Oh, yeah. So I mean, I guess SEMrush will show you. all the keywords that that website that you plug in is ranking for in Google.
Okay. Gotcha.
So then from there you can filter it however you want in terms of what keywords are getting the highest monthly searches, what keywords are ranking, like what keywords are ranking number one for, and like list them from like highest to lowest.
Right.
So it can list all the keywords that are ranking number one in Google for, and then you can target those, which will be the easiest ones to rank for.
That's cool, man. That's a
Yeah.
good strategy.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, where can people follow you and find out more information about you if they want to?
Yeah, so I run my own website called passioninthepaychecks.com. I talk about everything from Amazon FBA, my own journey that I'm going, that I currently have in my business. Talk about niche websites. I talk about buying and selling websites. I talk about basically whatever I'm doing online, any of my business ventures. It will be documented there, and that's where I pretty much talk about everything that I'm doing online. So you can follow me over there.
Right on.
Yeah.
Perfect, man. Thanks a lot, Josh. And really appreciate you sharing everything here. And, good luck in finals. I guess they're coming up, huh?
Yeah, those are next week. Actually, I better start studying for them. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on here. Like I said, big fan of you for a long time. You're one of the first people I found, so like it's awesome that I've been able to been featured on your website multiple times in this interview. It's really awesome. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
talk to you later.